And the other one, I guess, is a little opinion, but I think the numbers back it up. He does not appear to have improved, and in fact, he might have gone a little bit in the other direction since his second year. So much of Justin Herbert is this guaranteed superstar is based on his first year. He set the record for touchdown passes as a rookie, and his second year threw for 5,000 yards. It's like, oh my God. And those first 2 years, he averages 4,600 yards, 7.5 yards per attempt, and almost 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, which again, the touchdown interception ratio now is still 3-to-1, but higher volume, obviously, and a better rating. And then in the 4 years since then, the volume has gone down and the efficiency hasn't gone up. Usually, if we're going to cut the volume, we're going to become hyper efficient. That hasn't happened. And so he now gets another offensive coordinator, and this one, Brew, everybody thinks is an offensive genius. Head coach, mixed results. But you are running, if it looks the way it has looked every year of Herbert's career, flashes of brilliance ending in massive disappointment, you're running out of people to blame.
Okay, I am absolutely thrilled to delve into this topic because I informed you all yesterday that I would be creating this specific video, and I am genuinely excited to present it. Oh, San Diego and Los Angeles Chargers supporters, I am incredibly eager to produce this content because I went ahead and meticulously analyzed the statistics. Given that the commentator is asserting that these specific numbers substantiate the claim that Justin Herbert is exhibiting regression. We are not discussing overall career achievements. We are not debating legacy. We are not talking about Super Bowl victories. We are simply stating that the statistics support it. He is regressing. Examine the numbers. Scrutinize the figures. I am on the verge of presenting to you the most compelling graphical comparison. I am about to reveal the optimal graphic because, once again, I meticulously examined all the pertinent data, processed it thoroughly, and obtained a direct parallel analysis, and I sincerely cannot wait to showcase it. It is rather amusing because as I compile this video, there are a few individuals who wish to allege that I possess a bias in favor of Justin Herbert, presumably because I resided in San Diego and spent a considerable amount of time in Los Angeles, implying that I cannot maintain objectivity due to my perspective that Justin Herbert is an elite and exceptional quarterback. Really? Simply because I lived in a geographic region where the Chargers have played football, that somehow means my vision is clouded? If that contention holds true, then I simply wish to utilize mathematics. I just want to employ mathematical analysis. I am not going to incorporate anything else. Therefore, there is no subjective opinion involved. There is no partiality. You cannot constrain me because I lived in La Jolla and North Park. I'm so terribly sorry. I deeply apologize that I spent time in Pacific Beach. The profound tragedy that I had to endure hours of traffic on the I-5 traveling from San Diego to Los Angeles, or from Los Angeles to San Diego. I know. I am so sorry. Simply attempting to navigate onto the 101 freeway. I am aware. I am aware that because I possess this personal history, I cannot possibly maintain an accurate perspective on Justin Herbert. Consequently, I just want to rely on the numerical data then. I am strictly adhering to the statistics. Let us be perfectly clear. The commentator is claiming that based on these specific metrics, Justin Herbert is indeed regressing, that he is actually moving in reverse, and that we are exhausting potential justifications for his performance. So, then, please explain to me, what does this represent? Because this is a comparison of Justin Herbert over the preceding 3 seasons juxtaposed with Patrick Mahomes over the identical 3-year period. Justin Herbert, 66.6% completion percentage. Patrick Mahomes, 65.8% completion percentage. Now, regarding passing yards, 3,168 for Herbert versus 3,199 for Mahomes. He trails by a mere 31 yards. Yards per attempt is superior for Herbert, 7.1 compared to 7.0. The touchdown-to-interception ratio is significantly more favorable for Justin Herbert, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, 25 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Passer rating, 95.8 for Justin Herbert, 91.8 for Patrick Mahomes. Thus far, Justin Herbert surpasses Mahomes in every single category. Okay. PFF grade, 86.8 for Justin Herbert, 82.3 for Patrick Mahomes. Average depth of target, 8.5 yards for Herbert, 7.3 yards for Mahomes. Justin Herbert outperforms him once again. Turnover-worthy play percentage, 13.6% for Herbert, 18.3% for Mahomes. So, literally, based on pure statistics, Justin Herbert has been superior to Patrick Mahomes over the last 3 years. 100%. No qualifications, no exceptions, no reservations. Just straightforward mathematics, because that is precisely the methodology the commentator is employing at this moment. He is not incorporating any other elements. He is merely stating, look at these numbers. Examine these figures. Clearly, Justin Herbert is regressing. He is genuinely declining. Therefore, what does this imply about Patrick Mahomes? Because the commentator would unequivocally not assert that Patrick Mahomes is declining. He has emphatically rejected the notion that Patrick Mahomes is regressing and prefers to discuss offensive line performance, receiver play, and various other contextual factors. He has even commended the Chiefs for acquiring specific players to enhance their situation. Yet, that allowance for improvement regarding offensive line, receivers, and coordination is not extended to Justin Herbert. That is not permitted. We are not supposed to incorporate that context. Well, even within this stripped-down zero-context framework, comparing two quarterbacks whose teams have both allegedly experienced roster construction challenges, Justin Herbert has performed more proficiently. Justin Herbert has performed substantially better. Significantly better. But wait, there is additional information. Oh, there is considerably more. Did you believe I was simply going to conclude at that point? Come on now. How elementary do you presume I am? What about the support provided by their respective teams? Oh, I just experienced chills. Team support, offensive line pass block win rate, Herbert's team, 59%. Mahomes' team, 69%. Oh, so Patrick Mahomes has enjoyed a substantially superior offensive line over those preceding 3 seasons. A 69% average pass block win rate. For clarity, the Philadelphia Eagles' offensive line last season, which everyone acclaimed as the finest, proclaiming it unfair, was approximately 67%. Patrick Mahomes has actually benefited from a better average offensive line over these 3 years than the Eagles possessed last season, when everyone discussed how phenomenal that line was. That is quite amusing. How about yards after the catch, YAC? Herbert, 1,635 yards. Again, these are all calculated on a per-year basis, mirroring the commentator's setup. Patrick Mahomes, 2,239 yards. So, he is accruing significantly more yards after the catch. A considerable amount more. What percentage does that represent? For Justin Herbert, 42% of his passing yards originate from YAC. For Patrick Mahomes, 57% of his passing yards derive from YAC. Recall on the show First Things First, when they attempted to criticize Aaron Rodgers for having excessive YAC in a playoff game. Why would you seek to do that for Aaron Rodgers? Why do we apply a different standard for Patrick Mahomes at 57%? Well, it's because he is so exceptionally accurate. Really? Then why did Alex Smith under Andy Reid also have an extremely high YAC percentage? I am uncertain. Could it be that YAC is frequently influenced by coaching and schematic design? Oh, I don't know. Intriguing. What about defensive support? Points allowed per game. Chargers, 20.3. Chiefs, 18.6. That is nearly a field goal differential. You comprehend that is substantial, correct? You observe how all these playoff games transpire. You witness how numerous one-score contests unfold. A 3-point disparity is quite significant. A 1-point difference is quite significant. A 2-point margin is quite significant. It often delineates the difference between victory and defeat, correct? We have observed this repeatedly throughout these games. Just during this playoff run alone, we have seen how immensely consequential a few points can be. Could you envision if another team merely received an additional 2 points on their final score? How much of a difference that would have made, particularly in several of these overtime victories, or during drives, where perhaps a team must score a touchdown because a field goal is insufficient to seize the lead? So, it appears that perhaps 2 points is essentially everything in the NFL. Oh, interesting. Fascinating. And what about overall team support? This is a compelling one. Total All-Pro selections for the Chargers over the last 3 years. 4. To clarify, if we invent a number and a name right now, Justin Herbert, and I intentionally exclude Herbert or Mahomes from this count, because that is not the focus. We are discussing team support. But if Herbert earned an All-Pro selection in 2023, 2024, and 2025, that would constitute 3 All-Pro honors, correct? That would be the figure. So, that is the methodology. All-Pro selections. 4 total over those 3 years. 0 on offense. One of those was a punt returner. A punt returner. For Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs, 8 All-Pro selections. 4 of those on offense. Pro Bowl selections. 10 for Justin Herbert's teams. 13 for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. 10 of those on offense for the Chiefs, compared to only 2 on offense for the Chargers. So, which franchise has been more proficient at supporting its quarterback? Which quarterback has also endured a revolving door of coaches? Which quarterback witnessed his head coach get dismissed? Which quarterback is preparing to have another offensive coordinator during that time frame, marking what would be his 3rd in that period? So peculiar. Once again, no bias. This is purely mathematics. This is strictly numerical analysis. We intend to present these types of statistics and claim that the numbers substantiate the argument. The data proves that Justin Herbert is regressing. The commentator asserts that much of the rationale behind people believing Justin Herbert is exceptional stems from his early career accomplishments. But these recent statistics over the past 3 years indicate he is actually moving in the opposite trajectory. Well, a significant portion of the reason everyone considers Patrick Mahomes so phenomenal and extraordinary is also due to his early career exploits. And now, it is also stated that in the most crucial games, Justin Herbert performs at his poorest. Patrick Mahomes, in his most critical game of 2024, the Super Bowl, was thoroughly dominated. Then, in 2025, in his most pivotal contests, and he had multiple crucial games, he could not prevent turning the ball over. One of those games was against the Broncos. Another was against the Chargers. Another was against the Texans. Select whichever game you deem most significant. It certainly was not aesthetically pleasing for Patrick Mahomes in those matchups, was it? In Patrick Mahomes' last 4 most vital must-win games, Super Bowl versus the Texans versus the Chargers versus the Broncos, some of these statistics are slightly inflated because he accumulated several garbage time touchdowns and similar production in the Super Bowl. Therefore, I omitted those touchdowns since the game was evidently a blowout. However, he recorded a 55.7% completion percentage across those games. He averaged just over 200 passing yards per game, with 1 legitimate passing touchdown, excluding the Super Bowl garbage time scores, and 7 interceptions, culminating in a passer rating of 56.5. So, are we genuinely clinging to the heroics from years prior? Because that is the argument being constructed against Justin Herbert presently. And again, no one is disputing or debating that Patrick Mahomes has achieved more overall. No one is attempting to argue that Justin Herbert is having a superior career. No, 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 no. That is not the contention. Do not permit the sleight of hand. Do not allow the Jedi mind tricks to deceive you. The conversation is strictly this. Justin Herbert's current reputation is excessively reliant on his early career performance, and the numbers actually demonstrate he is on a downward trajectory. And we should not let his past accomplishments obscure that reality, and in his most recent meaningful games, he simply has not performed well. Well then, for Patrick Mahomes, we can assert the same because his numbers are distinctly declining. Clearly declining. And Justin Herbert is actually performing at a higher level statistically. Therefore, if you believe Justin Herbert's recent output is not particularly impressive, then you certainly cannot believe Patrick Mahomes has been that impressive. And in these important, meaningful, must-win moments, yes, we recall what occurred in 2019 and 2020, but it is 2026 now. It is 2026. So, I am uncertain. What is our course of action here? Again, I am merely adhering to the numbers. No bias, no San Diego or Los Angeles partiality. I am simply utilizing the statistics. This is purely the data. This is elementary mathematics. Justin Herbert. Higher completion percentage, comparable passing yards. All right, fine. Patrick Mahomes edges him by 31 yards. Congratulations. Superior yards per attempt, better touchdown to interception ratio, higher passer rating, better PFF grade, greater average depth of target, fewer turnover-worthy plays, accomplishing this with an inferior offensive line, fewer yards after the catch, a lower percentage of yards derived from YAC, a less effective defense, a worse overall supporting cast, and undoubtedly inferior coaching. Andy Reid versus Greg Roman, Brandon Staley, and Kellen Moore. Steve Spagnuolo versus the Chargers defensive coordinators. You tell me, whom will the NFL world remember more prominently? Greg Roman, Brandon Staley, and Kellen Moore, or Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo? You know, the defensive coordinator who stifled the undefeated New England Patriots with Tom Brady operating arguably the greatest offense in NFL history in the actual Super Bowl? That is Spagnuolo's resume, just for clarity. I am aware that many Kansas City Chiefs fans, many Mahomes supporters, this is factual, were not cognizant that the NFL existed prior to 2018. I know. It is astounding. It is remarkable. I am confident these numbers are accurate. Did you know that approximately 69% of Mahomes' fan base literally did not commence watching football until 2018? Probably around week 8 or 10 of the 2018 season. That is likely the genuine chronology. We are being serious here. I am merely employing the statistics, everyone. I am simply using the numbers. This is not even an opinion. I am not actually formulating any argument. I am not even asserting that Justin Herbert is not declining or regressing, nor am I arguing that Patrick Mahomes is regressing. I am not stating that. I am merely proposing that if you claim Justin Herbert is regressing and declining, then you must concurrently acknowledge that Patrick Mahomes is regressing. I am just suggesting that if you believe Justin Herbert's current statistical output is unimpressive, then you would have to affirm the same for Patrick Mahomes. And if you wish to begin incorporating additional context and discuss team roster, coaching, etc., well, then you better apply it equitably to Justin Herbert. Let us ascertain if you can contest anything I have just presented without invoking Super Bowl victories or other past achievements, because that is irrelevant to the present conversation. That has no bearing on the current discussion, because that was not the commentator's argument. In fact, if you desire to introduce that aspect of the conversation, the commentator stated that Justin Herbert is largely coasting on his reputation from his early career. So, if you wish to raise that point, then you must apply it to Patrick Mahomes as well. The complication is that it applies negatively, not positively. I am merely stating, everyone, I am just utilizing the numbers. It is not my fault. It is not my fault that I actually possess the capability to analyze statistics accurately. It is not my fault. You cannot continue to blame me for merely articulating reality. It is not my fault. It is not bias. It is termed reality. It is denominated reality. Just saying. Merely stating. But those are simply my perspectives. Did I say perspectives? Those are simply my thoughts. My flaw is that I am perpetually correct. You know, what is your greatest weakness? That I simply labor too diligently. But please inform me of your viewpoints. I peruse every single comment. Therefore, whether you concur with me or dissent from me, either way, let us engage in some dialogues. Let us engage in some debates. But ultimately, let us simply derive some enjoyment. And please do contemplate subscribing. We are cultivating an incredible community here, and would absolutely adore seeing you as part of it. I aspire to construct something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we are genuinely enthusiastic about being part of. I believe we are well on our path to accomplishing it. Please do not neglect to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so very much.